What's going on? It's your boy Sermon at Sermon's Domain on Twitter. In anticipation of Young Jeezy dropping the third and final installment of his Trap or Die series tonight, I thought it would be fun to sort of revisit the two tapes that he's dropped so far. I've been listening to him pretty much all week, and so I wanted to pose the question, what are some of your favorites from both tapes? Now, with Trap or Die, it really was the tape that put Jeezy on the map. He was already heavy in the South. He was buzzing. At this point, he was signed to Def Jam. So I feel like this tape was like a perfect introduction to anybody that wanted to listen to Jeezy. I've always felt like it's not one of those situations where if there's no Trap or Die, then Jeezy doesn't go on to be a star, because I feel like he was going to be big regardless. This tape just really helped. I think it solidified his buzz, solidified his position in hip-hop. And also that helps because being signed to Def Jam doesn't guarantee you an album release. So I think Trap or Die helped convince Def Jam in some ways, maybe not at all, but in some ways that Jeezy was a big, huge name and they need to put the money behind him, go to radio, and then put out the album, which they did later that summer. So, getting into it, the three songs that I wanted to highlight from the original Trap or Die are the intro, Get Your Mind Right, and Trap or Die the song. That right there is an unbeatable combination. If you wanted to know who Jeezy was at the time, you couldn't get any closer than these three records. The intro had so many quotables. He was talking about, he says, I'm talking so much white it'll hurt your eyes. I'm counting so much paper it'll hurt your hand. And then there were lines, these two lines that I felt like were some of the best on the tape. He said, minus all the videos, stickers, and flyers, most of these rappers are compulsive liars. I think at the time it really represented who Jeezy was. He was this real street dude who looked at the rap game as a bunch of phony individuals who don't live their raps, who are just, not authentic people. So it was really good lines in my opinion. I like those lines a lot. So that's what you had on the intro. And then you get into Get Your Mind Right. Who doesn't know those opening lines? Got Trap of the Year 4 times in a row. And then you had Trap or Die the song featuring Bun B and Slick Pulla. I love this song. I think it was like one of the first Jeezy songs that I ever heard. I'm glad that it ended up making TM 101 because it always felt like a record that was too big for just a mixtape. And I think the same could be said with Get Your Mind Right. Both of those ended up on Jeezy's debut album. So you have these records that are just huge. And even like in the intro, you had those couple lines I talked about, so much white it'll hurt your eyes. Those also made it on to TM 101, but in a different song. But those were lines that stood out so much that Jeezy felt like he had to say them again. He had to embed it in your mind. And so those were three songs on Trap or Die that I wanted to highlight. And there's also one more that I wanted to briefly talk about. It's the Slick Pulla freestyle. Whenever I hear this, I'm just like, man, Slick, it felt like if you listen to this freestyle, you're going to think that he has so much potential. And I'm sure he did. I don't know really what went wrong. Maybe it's just being under Jeezy. Jeezy doesn't have the best track record when it comes to putting on artists, but Slick Pulla really went in on that freestyle, so I wanted to highlight that. If you had asked me what I thought about Trap or Die 2 a week ago, I probably would have said something along the lines of it's forgettable, besides a couple songs. Revisiting it this week really helped me understand that this tape is a quality body of work. I think what really hurt it was the fact that DJ Drama wasn't a part of it. It's hosted by Don Cannon, and at the time, Jeezy and Drama had their little falling out over a number of things. I think the main reason was Jeezy wanted one of his artists to get a hosted tape from Drama, and Drama was trying to charge him like 20 racks. So you had that, and it kind of overshadowed the tape. So now that I'm able to listen to it years later, they've made up and all that, I don't think Trap or Die 2 or 3 will ever be better or bigger than Trap or Die. I mean, that was a huge moment that you really can't duplicate it. It's something that will be a huge part of Jeezy's legacy. So, getting into Trap or Die 2, even before I revisited it, my favorite record on there was Camaro. I really love the beat, the flow, But I hated that there was only one verse. I kept thinking, like, why is there not a second verse? Why is there not a guest feature, something to keep this record going? It was just too good to be a one verse song. Another part that I liked on this tape was Pusha T's verse on Illin. This is before the clip split up, so you had one of the last memorable guest features from the two. But I think Pusha T was a clear victor if you're kind of ranking between him and Malice. I like that Pusha T was just really aggressive, and he took shots at Wayne too. He's like, tell Hova don't pass the crown so soon unless he's got a crown for every rider in the room, addressing Wayne's alleged ghostwriting allegations that have kind of, at this point they've kind of fizzled out. Nobody's really talking about it. I think Pusha was really the only one concerned about it. And then, of course, who didn't like Lose My Mind? That record was so good that it became a single, and it ended up on TM 103. The only thing that I don't understand, and I'm going to say this about every Plies feature ever, why? Why is Plies on here? He ruins the song. I've never been a Plies fan. I can't really say that I like any of his music. And lastly, even though Trap or Die 3 is not out yet, he's put out some singles, and I've listened to all their featuring Bankroll Fresh so many times. Every time that I see it on YouTube, I see the video and like watch it again, or just anywhere on the YouTube page when I log on to it. I have to play this song because I just love it so much. It's vintage Jeezy. And I said this in another video. I said I like the record a lot, especially because it sounds like a true collaboration. Obviously, the vocals from Bankroll were just lifted from another song, or somewhere he had them recorded already. And I like that Jeezy kind of meshed it together to where it sounds like, they're going back and forth, and it just sounds like a true collaboration to me, and I've always liked that about the record, so I had to include that. Maybe I'll do an updated version of this one day, and kind of, maybe in 5 years or so, revisit all 3 tapes and kind of talk about them even more, because by then it'll probably be like the 16th, 17th anniversary. I mean, the 10th just passed last year. So maybe in like 4 years, when it's the 15th anniversary, we can kind of look back on the original Trap or Die 2, and Trap or Die 3. So those were just a few of my favorites off of those 2 tapes, and one off the 3rd. Let me know what songs were your favorites. What songs are you still bumping from those 2 tapes? Talk to me in the comment section below, and then like the video, subscribe to the channel if you're not already, share the video, follow me on Twitter at @SermonsDomain, and as always, thank you for your time. I appreciate you for watching, and until next time, peace.